Should we? Thank you, Naomi. Okay. And Katie. Who else do we have? Do we have Katie?
Aloha.
Hello. Aloha. Um, can you all see my screen? Is that okay?
Yes.
So we're ready to
Yes.
go. Um, let me find it for because I want to reduce my. Okay. So I'm ready to rock and roll here. Should we wait just a few minutes? We've got Katie and Janice and June. Okay. Almost there. We're only at 10:01. Oh, and Nancy's here. Hi, Nancy. Um, Let me just start because we've got a tight schedule here, I got to say. Um, We've got, well, I've got 25 slides to go through, which in 25 minutes makes it quite a challenge to get through all of this, but I want to rock and roll. The good news here is that I will email all of you the slideshow presentation that we're about to see so that you can review it at your leisure and not have to worry about missing stuff along the way because there is a ton of information that I'm about to share. Um, so let's start with who I am. Rich Proctor with the Rotary Club of Honolulu. I was the district treasurer last year. I will be the district treasurer again for Nancy's year. I'm currently the treasurer for the conference coming up in May. I am also what they call the DGND, District Governor Nominee Designate. So in the year 27 to 28, I will become the district governor. So there's a lot for me to learn, and hopefully you'll stay with me. And the question I have right now is, how many of you are current treasurers? Can you just raise your hands? Anybody? Okay, Clay, I see you. Um, and how many of you are new treasurers? Okay, Caroline, good. And Bob, great. Um, So, Clay, you may know actually more than I do. I've been district treasurer, but I've not been club treasurer. I've been club president, of course, but not actually in that particular role. But I've got a pretty good understanding of where we need to go. So let me just begin. I think we're all here. Um, what are the basics? Let's get this thing going. Okay. Here's how we prepare to be treasurer, and you'll see this online. Learn online. We've got access to the Learning Center, learning together, attend our district training. This is what you're doing here. Working together, maybe you can collaborate and plan. You're going to need to do that certainly as this particular year progresses so that you have a plan for your incoming year. Now, so what are the duties that we need to some sort of attention or pay attention to? This is very important right here than the upfront stuff. Okay, you're going to control the club funds. You're going to have the checkbook. You're going to collect dues and fees. You're going to keep the board informed of the finances. And you're going to remit payments, which would be also including the Rotary Foundation and the HRYF donations. Maintain the records. So the bank statements, reconciliations, which you should keep for 5 years, grant finances, which should be in a different checkbook, a different account, and include satellite club financial numbers if you've got them. Reporting, you're going to report taxes yearly. We'll get more into that with federal, state, and general excise. And you're going to keep the board informed of the finances and budget along the way. Okay, I think I'm going to. Now, what are our annual your financial controls? I'm sorry, what are your financial controls? Highly suggested to ensure that the funds are managed properly. Okay. You know, if you run a business or you have run a business, having counter signature on checks is really a good idea. If not, then have a requisition form, an authorization form that you can have at your disposal. So anybody who needs a check would be authorized to receive one, maybe by the president or the treasurer himself. Reviewing the bank statements before giving them to the president. Uh, Make sure that they are accurate. Reconcile your bank statements monthly. Update all the bank signatures, usually on an annual basis, for the new officers that are going to come in July. Close accounting records in a timely fashion. Do what you need to do to get them off the books. Submit the tax forms on time, and have an audit committee for oversight and continuity. Some of the smaller clubs don't have this, and many clubs don't seem to have an audit committee for oversight. Um, that seems to be a lot of people don't understand the finances. But if you can, if you've got people who want to be involved in that, bring them on board. So the annual requirements. Uh, Now, the budget. Uh, the budget should be, approved by the board before July 1st if possible. I know that sometimes that doesn't really happen on time. It all depends on how complicated or robust or what kind of meetings you're able to get together with. But here we have the IRS 990, which is due by November 15th. This is mandatory. It's mandatory for the IRS, and it's also mandatory for another reason. Um, because if we want to get district grants, if your club is applying for a district grant, they've got to know that the club is up to speed with the federal government, and the 990 form has been submitted. Um, and in addition, and we'll get more into this later, general excise tax filings as required by state tax department, and we'll talk more about what is and what is not required. Here's a budget template. If I don't know how many of you might be using QuickBooks or something equivalent, there are budget templates that you can utilize through them. This is what they look like. You can also set up your own budget on a spreadsheet if you've got one, and just modify that year after year. Um, but this is a sample below that you can utilize. Now, what are you going to have to spend during the course of the year that you know about right now? Um, First, we'll start with the RI invoice. That's billed every 6 months based on current membership. Um, and that's going to be, per member, per active member. Just split that $102 in half. Same with the district dues. Split that in half. They're billed in July and in January, or they're supposed to be paid in those months. And then there's $200 due for HRYF club dues. There's some expenses that you should, budget into your thinking, and that has to do with pets. I'm hoping that um, this is something that your club, has. They've really gotten in charge of $1,500 approximately. The pets for the next foreseeable future is going to be happening at the Marriott at LAX. So it's the flight to LA, and then the cost for the program, which happens over the weekend in, well, this last year was in February, and I think it's going to stay that way for a while. Unpaid global grant pledges. Um, Pets hospitality room, another $100. District workshops, foundation seminars. Most of those are on Zoom now, so we don't have to really worry too much about that. RILA, $250 per student that you might be sponsoring. And then there's the district conference. And of course, the minimum expectation is the current president and the president-elect to attend that conference. And then, incoming board members or outgoing board members, a celebration of all the work that's been done over the year and the work that we hope to do for the following year. And then there are mutual meetings, which don't really require much in the way of budgeting, which is pre-pets and the training assemblies. So here we go. The Rotary dues, again, it's 102 or 103 annually. And this is what it pays for. Okay. Insurance, you get the magazine every month. Um, you get, and so there has been an increase of dues this particular year. And then we also have the district dues, which are $65. We are going to stay the same. That was increased last year. It's going to stay the same for the next year. and this gets sent to the district treasurer, who will be me, in the PO box downtown. Let me go back. The club invoice should be sent out to your members. Oh, say by June 1st. Yeah, because you want the money in your bank by July 1st, so you can send it to me in the month of July. And the same is true for the next term, which would be December 1st, because we have to cobble that money together so that the district can afford to spend the money that we need for pets and the other travel expenses that the DG line is involved in. The international dues. As I said before, the Rotary dues are based on members' accounts as of 7/1 and 1/1. They cannot be adjusted, so it's very important that you get the roster correct before those dates, so you're not overpaying for members that you no longer have. Because sometimes you have members that are silent and they still want to stay members, or maybe not. Maybe they want to move on. Uh, the RI invoices are emailed to the club president. I will be sending those out. I will send them out in June. I'm sorry, do you have a question? Okay. Um, Secretary and Treasurer, and then we will make sure that your email or make sure your email addresses are correct so they don't bounce and everybody gets what they need to get so that uh, the dues can get paid. Um, they can be made online with a credit card. Uh, right now, I think we're collecting checks. Uh, we can take a look at how that goes, but I'm going to show you, where all this goes for on the RI dues. These are we go to the dues for the Rotary International. Oh gosh, HR, legal, audit, finance, all of these things are part of what the annual dues for Rotary International are. It says $78, but it's more than that. It's 102. That number needs to be adjusted. There's also a Council of Legislation, which we get involved in when new legislation comes out from Rotary International that will affect us, and we have a vote in all of that as the district. Um, there's insurance costs that we incur, and general liability and directors and officers, EPL. I'm sorry. Um, anyway, and then there's the Rotarian magazine, and the annual payments will be due in July and January, as I mentioned. Now, on the district website, um, we've got membership rosters, district dues, district chairs, and org chart, information on the avenues of service. There's a lot on there. Hopefully, you've had a chance to go through the district website and find out what's relevant for you, or uh, and things that you're going to need in your job as treasurer. We've got club presidents, meeting locations, events, and you can register for events. And there are Rotarians that are on the yellow pages if you need services. So this is the information that you're going to be able to see on the district website. Here's what the invoice looks like that I will be emailing out in June. Um, it's the uh, this is dated, of course. It's not $30 anymore. It's $32.50. It's going to be invoiced. You put your total number of members and multiply it by that amount, and sign it and send a check into the district mailbox that you see on the bottom here. Now we're going to get into district grants, but Naomi is going to have a chance to give you more information on the next session after this break. So we'll touch on it right now. Um, any of you who have received district funds from a district grant for this current year needs to file a report to the district by May 31st. And then if you want to apply for a grant for the coming year, that grant application has to be into the district by June 15th. And And the on July 31st, deposit club cash into the grant account. And as I said, that has to be in a separate account. And a copy of the bank statement showing the club cash is required to receive the grant funds. But you'll be notified, and we got to hustle along here. Disbursement requirements: do not disperse funds until you get the money. Okay. Maintain a separate account. Two signatures required. Invoices and proof of payments in case you're being audited. Proof of expenditures, prompt deliveries, receipts for all expenditures to the club treasurer. If retain your account records and electron for 5 years, and reconciliation will be required on a monthly basis by the treasurer. Um, but a lot of people don't have that much money coming through, so it may not be that arduous. Uh, District grants, I think I've already, whoops, wrong one. We're going to keep going. District audit of grants requirements. Um, you'll see this is a whole bunch of stuff that you need to have. So if you get audited, which doesn't happen always or that often, you'll have to have this information to pass the audit that might come your way. But it's not a guaranteed, but it can happen. There's a new voucher requirement now for distribution, which I think is a good thing. So this would be one of the items that you'll have in your account that that you can use to distribute, that can give you the information you need to validate the distribution that you did. Now, RI website. Here we go. This is for getting your RI invoice. Okay. There's information here about how to get into the website. Um, And again, this is something you should play with. Go to My Rotary, go to Club Resources, and then go to Club Finances. As you can see, Club Invoice, Daily Club Runner Balance, um, edit invoice preferences about the club invoice, exchange rates, so forth. But this is how you get to your invoice that you're going to need to send to Rotary International for the 6 months dues in both July and January. Rotary Foundation contributions. Um, so this has to do with your Rotary Foundation contribution from your members. There is a procedure that you need to follow in order to so that your members can get recognition. Okay. And this is important because we want to recognize them for their contributions as they move along. Um, Now, again, I'm going to send this to you because this is a little more complicated. Some of you may already know how to do this, um, uh, but there's a whole bunch of and again, there's more information on this when we get into the Rotary Foundation procedures. Now, state excise tax here, revenue. Okay, geez, if you are you're going to have to pay GE tax to the state of Hawaii, um, but you're not going to have to pay it on dues, donations, or gifts. Interest income from bank deposits, including CDs for safekeeping or cash, logo merchandise sales, as long as you're not making a profit. If you're selling stuff just to make a profit, then you have to, and then you're not going to need to pay GE tax on dividend income. But taxable would be derived from any activity, the primary purpose of which is to produce income, or basically fundraising activities like sales, fairs, bazaars, bake sales, gala dinners, concert, chili sales, etc. Rental income if you have any. Gross proceeds from benefit dinner, silent auction, and other sales of donated item. Interest income, royalties from investment portfolio. You don't need, and advertising. Um, Yeah, the investment, well, that's not necessarily an advertising from newsletters. I'm not sure many of you are doing that. Evidence of the annual GE tax filing is required for grant app qualifications. So again, this is needed in order to keep up with the district grant money that you might want to receive. and it's starting at June 30th. The report is due by October 20th, 4 months after the close of the year. So pencil that into your calendar. Make sure you've got all your requirements. Go on the government website to get the form that you're going to need. And if you don't have revenues of this sort, then you should probably still file a return. Actually, you should file a return. Um, Exemption letters. I don't know. Typically, for your organization that earn income from exempt activities such as school tuition, museum admission, hospital, I don't think many of us are involved in that. Tax exempt for income tax purposes is not the same as tax exempt for GET. So that is it for me. I'm going to stop sharing and ask, is there anybody who has any questions of the thing I just ran through uh, really fast?
Hey,
We've got to,
Rich, I got a question. I have a question, Rich.
sure,
You had stated at the beginning of your talk that you are going to email this entire PowerPoint presentation to us.
correct.
Okay. Is it are you just going to email it to us, or are you going to also mail it to our incoming treasurers?
I'm going to email it to current and future. Hopefully, all that information is on the Club Runner website now or on the district website
Yes,
now.
it
Yes.
is. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll
Good.
get it.
Thank you.
I'll get it out because it was way too much information for a half an hour from my perspective. Naomi, do you have anything that you would like to add that I may have missed along the way?
No, I think you covered a lot. So, for the the tax return, it's so easy to do the 990N because it's just an email. So you don't want to lose that because anytime you have less than 50,000 in income or in revenue, you can just do the 990. So don't lose that designation because otherwise you're gonna have to do a full tax return. And don't forget, if you don't do the tax return for 3 years, you're going to lose the 501. We are 501(c)(4)s and we come under the Rotary International's umbrella. So if you lose that, if you haven't filed for 3 years or longer, you will lose that from IRS and you cannot get back under IRS's umbrella. So it's really important to make sure you file those tax returns for the filing every year by November 15th and send a copy of your confirmation to grants@rotaryd5000.org. Oh, and
Okay.
for audits, by the way, if you don't respond or you fail the audit of your grant information, you may not be able to get grant information, grant funds the next year.
Okay. So we're almost there. Anybody else have any? We've got 113 seconds to before we're going to get kicked out. Anybody have any quick questions that would like to ask in the meantime? Well, well, good. Well, I hope it was informative. I hope you all learned something. And as I said, there's more to learn and collaboration is a good thing too. Talk amongst yourselves. This is a very important part of club administration. And if it's not handled correctly, oh, woe is us. Because the wheels will fall off and the club won't. This is a very key component of club administration. And I know there are certain clubs out there who have gone through all sorts of problems, getting their books straightened out, and it's not a fun project for the president or anybody else who comes along afterwards. So, with that in mind, um, I guess we're pretty much complete here. So we'll
Thank you very much, Rich.
we'll say
Thank you, Rich.
aloha and see you, thank you, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay?
All right.
Okay.
Aloha.
All right.